this is Sam from the CamelCast podcast. I'm going to be hosting this with the co-host Jaden.
Hello.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the aftermath of Trump's tweets, and in the second half we're going to be talking about Britain's new Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. So start us off, Jaden.
Alright, so we're talking about the aftermath of Trump's tweet. So you look at what's now being called the Squad, and they basically, Trump is saying he's not racist, nothing like that. Then you go to the rally, he has a rally, and he's talking about them. He names all of their names, and then after that he leaves time and the crowd boos. Then, this is a hilarious part, when he says Ayanna Pressley's name, the crowd's like, nobody boos. They're all like, who's this? And why are we talking about him? And it's hilarious. You have like maybe 10 people booing, and then the rest were like, who's that? It's pretty funny. But then he said Ilana Mar's name. Everyone booed, and then they started to chant "Send her back." And then Trump gave them like a good 20 seconds to chant that, and then he started talking. And then the next day he was asked about it. He said he told them to stop immediately, which he totally did.
Yeah, but a lot of, I understand that Trump say, I'm sorry, it went too far, but a lot of people are saying it didn't go too far, like the radio host Rush Limbaugh, who said that the chant was innocent fun. I think that's kind of awful, because it's not innocent fun, it's clearly racism, and, being bigoted.
You can call it not racist. You can say whatever you want about it. It was racist, but I don't care if you're going to call it not racist. But that hurts to hear that somebody's actually saying that was just having fun.
Think about it. If people defend it, they're so stupid because they're American congresswomen. They're American. They're American.
Only one wasn't born in America, and they're all valid American citizens.
Yeah, and the one that wasn't born in America has worked her way up at the top, which the Republicans and the Democrats call the American dream. But Trump and Trump's loyal fan base is now against that for some reason.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me how all of this has come down. But luckily, the House of Representatives did vote to condemn Trump's tweet. We don't know what that means. It basically means that they just said, yeah, that was racist, and that's basically all that means. So it really doesn't do anything except for just confirm that it was racist.
Yeah, it was definitely racist and clearly bigoted. So, and I think the House has done a lot of things, but a lot of Republicans in the House, who, the House is Democratic majority, a lot of Republicans are, defending it and saying it was not because these congresswomen were minorities, it was because they said something that's anti-American.
Okay, well, what your thoughts are on, say, Bernie Sanders, something like that. Bernie Sanders has said a lot of the same things about how our government needs help and how we need to change stuff. But he's not being called anti-American.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's chanting "send him back."
Yeah, it's where is he from? Bernie Sanders is Jewish. He has, ancestors in Israel. What are they going to do? Send him back to Israel. They're not going to do that because Bernie Sanders is white, even though they probably hate Bernie Sanders on political spectrum more than, Ilhan Omar or AOC.
Yeah. It's just very weird to me how they actually think it's not racist. But luckily, we had 3 Republicans who had brains, and 1 independent who was a former Republican who also had a brain.
Yeah, a lot of people chose not to defend Trump and, chose to side with the House on the decision that, those tweets were racist.
I think it is sad, though, that people actually think that that's not racist. You can say, I feel like the best thing for Trump to do was to say, hey, maybe I made a mistake. That might have been something I shouldn't have said. I'll make sure not to say that again. I'll make sure not to let that happen again.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they actually really believe in it's not racist, because I don't think anyone in politics or Congress would actually be dumb enough to think it's not racist. I think they're just lying. I think they know it's racist, but they're just lying for political gain.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's a very good point. A lot of them probably are just like, hey, this is a Republican president. We'd like to keep it that way. So if we vote to condemn this tweet, we're just lowering our chances at him staying president. We need to make sure we can try at least our hardest to not let the tweet be condemned.
Yeah. And speaking of the House recently passed a new bill, which is the $15 minimum wage. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's great. The higher the minimum wage, the better. Like, nobody should be making such little money an hour.
Yeah, exactly. You know how much Bernie cares about this? So here's what he did. See, his campaign, people work his campaign. They're making normal amount of money, but they were working extra hours. So technically, on average, they didn't get $15 an hour. So what Bernie did? He let them unionize and agreed to give them a $15 minimum wage.
That's great. And before we move on about the House and condemning the tweet, just kind of some funny facts. So the House was going insane. Everyone was arguing. It was just a crazy day. Somehow there's a law that says you're not, a House rule that basically says you're not allowed to call the president racist, which is so stupid. I don't care who it is, that's a stupid rule. Democrat or Republican, that's a stupid rule. But there was so much fighting and so much arguing that the person at the chair literally just abandoned the chair and just left.
Oof.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I know. And there's this one congressman who defended it. He only mentioned two people that he says he was allied with, so he's not bigoted. You know who they are? They are Judge Clarence Thomas in the Supreme Court and this woman named Candace Owens who runs her own show. You know what those two people have in common? They are black. So I think that's why that congressman mentioned them, because, hey, I have black friends. See, I'm not racist. It was kind of that type of thing.
Yeah. I hate when people think that just because they have friends that aren't the same race as them, make them not racist. That doesn't mean you're not racist. That just means you like these people. Being racist doesn't necessarily mean that you don't hang out with certain people. Just being racist doesn't mean you're a segregationist. Being racist doesn't mean you don't have friends of an opposite race. Being racist could mean you're against one certain race. If they're both black, they might not be Hispanic, and you could be racist against Hispanic people.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's truly 100% racist, but I also think that everyone has some racism in them. It's like a little twerk in our body, this tribal instinct from our early evolution. Then and again, it's like racism is not learned. You can overcome it, but hatred, that's the problem. I think hatred is a real problem because racism is just inside you, and you learn hatred to hate other races.
Yeah, I agree. And back to the subject of how you definitely just because he has friends of an opposite race doesn't make them racist. Just because you have a couple of friends of that race, you can still hate that race. Because you could still think that the majority of that race are all criminals, or that they're all, just terrible people, right?
Yeah.
Just because you have two friends of that race who you think are great people, it doesn't mean that the rest of the race you're okay with.
Yeah, it's just I live in a pretty white village. Most of the people here are of Caucasian descent, and most of my friends happen to be of Caucasian descent. That doesn't mean I'm racist. I'm not racist at all.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. And it's also it just really depends where you live, because if you live in a richer neighborhood, or no matter where you live, if you live in an area where it's mostly white people, that doesn't mean you're racist. And if you live in an area where it's mostly black or Hispanic people, it doesn't make you not racist. Just having friends of a race doesn't make you not racist.
Yeah, I heard a story of this man who was an African-American man, and he actually once he was a scout and he got called out for being black. So he wanted to learn more about the races, and eventually he became friends with the KKK. And it was weird because they still thought, KKK still thought they were genetically superior to him, but they were still friends.
Yeah, that's very weird.
Yeah, I mean, the KKK is still racist, but hey, they have a black friend.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me, all that stuff. It's so hard to comprehend how two people who may think the same, who may just be the same, except for their color of the skin. All of a sudden, the white person, like, two people could be exactly the same. And they could be walking down the street, on opposite sides of the street. And the black man is more likely to get arrested.
That is true. And, in the police, no one really knows, is it actually that they're actually racist and they're doing it on purpose, or it's in their biology, it's in their gut instinct to, trust one race, their race, more than the other race. I don't think anyone really knows that.
I think in some instances that's true, and in others it's not. Like, look at some cases. There was this one guy who went to the same gas station for like a year, and almost every day he would stop and put in handcuffs by a cop.
Yeah, it's insane.
One guy.
I think
there was a story about this guy who was at a hospital, and he had an IV in him, and somehow a cop thought he was stealing the IV machine, even though the needle was literally in his arm. And he was in the hospital for pneumonia. The cop took out the machine, put him in the back of the police car. He was there for asthma and pneumonia. The cop took away his inhaler. He started to get really sick. They refused to help him until he fainted and blacked out.
Yeah, with police racism, I think those are giving a bit more like speeding tickets more of black people. I think that is more of a biological quirk. But when you pull out your gun and threaten them, I don't think that's biology. I think that's just plain out hatred.
Yeah, or there was this one instance where you probably heard of this. This kid was shot and he was running away from the cop.
Yeah.
And the cop said he thought he was threatened by him. First of all, the guy was unarmed. Second of all, he was running away.
I know.
Running away from someone dangerous. It's what are you going to do? Hit him with your butt?
Yeah.
And it's just really sad.
Yeah, it's extremely sad, and I hate it because these cops, again, you don't know if they're lying. If they are lying and they actually wanted to kill that kid just because he was black, that is sad because it's a very old world mentality. It was around.
It's so hard to investigate, and that's the hardest part about it because everyone has some sort of racial bias, and it's a sad truth, but it just is for most people. And so it's very hard to know whether it's just somebody, whether it's just an instinct, or whether it's an actual act of racism. But I think that if you actually see somebody unarmed and you pull a gun out on them, that's racist. That's you being threatened that's just complete racism. That's so unfair because you would never do that to someone who's white.
Yeah, and it's with the trial, on a crime, where a white cop accidentally shot a black kid, accidentally, in quotes there, air quotes. Then if it was an all-white jury, that would turn out very differently than if there was an all-black jury.
Yeah.
Even if it was black conservatives or white liberals, it's still the same. We all have that bias in us.
Yep. Let's move on to the topic of Britain's new prime minister. So, Boris Johnson, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, what party is he from? Don't know much about him.
He's from the Conservative Party. So I'll help you out with this one.
Yeah, but in other countries, conservative, Democrat, liberal, labor, they're all flipped around in a super confusing mess, and it's really complicated. Yeah,
Well, he's being called Britain's Trump,
Oh,
the
Britain
House
is
too.
Trump. Oh, yeah. There's a lot
He's
of.
very keen on knocking down immigration.
Yep.
He's very pro-Brexit.
Yep.
He's got worse hair than Trump.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, but he's also pretty funny. Watch his stuff.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of like Trumps around the world. There's like one in Brazil, one in Hungary, one in Myanmar, all over the world.
It's interesting that they elected him because I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago, but when Trump went to England to meet with the Queen, he was saying about how happy everyone was that he was there. That was a lie. There were like a couple, every day he was there was like at least a couple of humongous protests with signs saying, "You're not welcome." And
Oh,
"Get out of
yeah,
the
yeah.
country."
There was this one really hilarious protest where there was this field and someone drew Trump's name. They like did it with a lawnmower. And then someone drew a legit wiener on there. Yeah, I'm not kidding. It was hilarious.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's really weird to me that they elected somebody like that. But I'm not gonna lie, watching his acceptance speech, it was hilarious. He was like, basically his like whole thing was like Brexit do or die, but he was saying like he was gonna do a lot. He was gonna like, it was three things. It was like something D, it was like I forget what it was. It was like a D, and it was like a U, and then it was a D, and then D was for defeat. And then he was like, but unfortunately that fell dud. So I added one, energize, dude. It was really funny.
Yeah, so like speaking of like Brexit and everything, what do you feel about Angela Merkel of Germany, who's now leading the EU? Like, what do you think about her saying that other EU countries have to let refugees in?
I don't know. I don't really know much about the EU, so I'm gonna let you answer that one.
Yeah, I mean, like this happened long ago. I mean, I don't know what to think about this. I think that refugees have the right to live in Europe, but I also think that the EU can't force other countries, to do what they don't want to do. So yeah, I don't really know about that.
That's hard because like the EU is, is a bunch of nations, and I think that what needs to happen is it needs to be like, if I get what you're saying correctly, I think it needs to be more like, hey, we recommend you do this because this is what the rest of the countries are doing, and the other countries might not like you as much, but you have your choice, here's what we recommend, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah, but again, I don't support Poland's take on this because Poland's government is really right-wing and Islamophobic and terrible and anti-Semitic, all of those, so yeah.
Yeah. Very difficult topic. And we touched on illegal immigration last week, or
Yeah.
technically this week because the video is going to be uploaded late.
Yeah, it's all messed.
I think it's a very hard question to answer because those who are left, then it's open borders, and we can't have that. We're gonna have our population will go from like 300 million to like 700 million in like a matter of a few years from so many immigrants, and we won't be able to sustain ourselves. And the country will become more poor and we'll lose a lot of power.
Yeah, that's why we need to invade Latin America. I'm just kidding. We don't need to do that. Continue.
But if our government goes too far right, which is what Trump's doing, which is putting people in detention centers and keeping the borders open, but barely, then now all of a sudden we're, destroying people's rights, and we have a humanitarian crisis and overfilling and, all this stuff with these facilities. And the middle ground is so hard to find because we can't, it's like, if you look at, you can't just have 10 kids in a room and have 10 cookies and give one kid all 10,
True.
So it's the same in this case. You can't have 10 immigrants who are exactly the same and only let 3 in.
Exactly.
If you're going to let 3 of those immigrants in, if they're all the same, no criminal record, they're all going to work and pay taxes, and they all, have a chance to get in the country, you can't just let in one or two. You have to let in all of them.
Yeah, exactly. So we're almost done now, so I just want to say thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.